Peace. It's your boy Mixed by Keith here on behalf of the Universal Black Media Podcast. And we're here with another one. I'm here with my boy.
Just one today?
Just one. Introduce yourself.
It's your boy ML Visuals on behalf of the UDM Podcast, and we back with another episode I would say a nice Saturday. Some people might say it's cold, but
It's cold as shit.
30 degrees ain't so cold to me.
He's saying that because he got all that meat on his bones.
Yep.
Me, I'm bony as shit. I weighed like last time I went to the doctor, I was like 143. So I get cold quick. I wouldn't be surprised if I was anemic.
Not over here. I'm pretty sunny on my end.
So, Dada, I don't know if he got the Omarion, Omicron, but he has a respiratory infection, and he texted us like, "Oh, y'all want to record?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I do want to record." Then Dada is like, I can barely talk right now. I can barely speak. I have a respiratory infection." So we decided to move forward and record. And he's like, "Oh, y'all gonna do it without me?" And I'm like, yeah. The show must go on. You know what I'm saying? I would want them to record without me if I wasn't able to do it. So it's just like,
When I was sick, I told them the same thing. Y'all can go ahead right without me because listen, shit don't stop for nobody.
and that's the thing. If we plan on giving out content every Friday, we gotta have content to give people. So it's like,
Just in case it's shit like people can
Yeah.
sick, like anything, life can just happen to where we might can't record for the next 2 weeks. But if we got enough content on the days where we should be recording, we'll keep having them to push out every Friday without no problem. So that's why I be trying to push them to keep like let's just keep recording day in and day out. Like
listen, it's not about the hours you put in. It's about what you put in them hours.
okay.
You got 24 hours in a day, and if you spend 12 hours doing nothing, you wasted half your day. Because the rest of the 12 hours is just going to go by extremely fast. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? You are in control of your life. And that's from how you feeling, what you thinking, what's on your mind, what you consuming, what's going on around you. You're in control. The only time you're not in control is when you in bondage, or like you locked up, or when you under mind control or some shit. There's a lot of ways that you cannot be in control, but for the most part, you close your eyes and open them back up, and you're in control of what goes on after you open your eyes in the morning.
Especially in your own reality.
You ain't even talking into the mic.
I'm my fault. I'm trying to do 2 things at once. In your own reality. Try to get it together. Good shit. Because I had this shit on the side.
And these niggas be grinding me up talking about the audio terrible, but they not.
Hey, no, one person
There's things they're doing that make the audio ain't what it's supposed to be.
No, one person said that.
No, yeah, we gotta address that. So, we recorded a podcast a few days ago, and it posted Friday, and I'm sure these dudes probably listened to no more than 5 minutes of it, and since the first 5 minutes, there was some bumping, and there was some bumping, moving, and you can hear shit in the background, and they talking about some, oh, the audio is so terrible, this, that, and in my head, I'm thinking like, one, it's still, you can still listen to it, and it's not to the point to where you can't get through it and listen to it. So I was taken aback when Dada was like, the audio was terrible, because there was an instance to where he said it was something wrong with a previous podcast, and it turned out that it was just his phone. So it's like, initially I was like taken aback. I'm writing in the group chat. I even had to erase one of the messages I was going to send, because I'm like, all right, that's too much. I was going to say, y'all forget that I'm an audio engineer and I know what the fuck I'm doing. So if you go tell me that the audio is terrible, you have to articulate why it's terrible outside of the minimal bumping on the mic and your voice not being loud enough because you're not speaking into the mic and you 3 feet away. So it's like, that ain't my fault. I mean, I know how to take accountability and eat certain things that I'm responsible for, but if you see me talking on the mic like this, so you can hear me clearly, and then you sit 2-3 feet away, and we can barely hear you, it's your fault for not speaking on the mic. It's only so much that I could do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
So
like this mic because it's right here. And this shit. If I
no, but this mic pick up pretty well. The nigga was sitting so far. Every time we recording, I'm on the mic, which is why you can hear me more than you can hear him, because we're sharing the mic.
But it's still a good mic that picks up everything though. But that's why I like mine, because it's just like I'm in control. Because if I hold it down too low, it's gonna get low. If I hold it right here, like how it's supposed to be, then you always gonna be able to hear me clearly. So that's why I'll be like, yeah, I can share that mic with you. He definitely do be like relaxed, lazy.
Yeah, like.
So I be in my head thinking, I'm like, I wonder if this shit picking up right now. Cause I know, I mean, even though it's a great mic, you just never know.
No, it's picking up, but you think I just be up on the mic like this just to be up on it?
No, I know.
Like I know, like you gotta. This is a condenser mic, so it's only gonna pick up what you say in front of it. So it do pick up shit in the background and all of that, but for the most part, you have to be speaking directly into it like this, so it can pick you up and hear you.
Yeah, because we be playing music in the background sometimes, and the podcast don't even really pick it up because it's not really like actually being directed.
It's really faintly in the background, like you only hearing what's going directly into the mic.
Facts. Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That shit definitely was funny though.
No, I was really taken aback because like it just made me feel like I'm not on my job, or I'm not doing what I should be doing, when that was some pretty straightforward criticism, especially if you ain't listened to the whole shit.
Right.
And you can't say, "Oh, it's static throughout the whole podcast," because that's just not true. So, just the minimal portion you heard was staticky, but that's not reflective of the entire podcast. Cause y'all was saying like, "Oh, we can't go from one episode of being staticky to the next episode of being clear," but it's like the shit is clear.
No, the audio definitely was clear. It definitely was like feedback, and I just think the levels might have just been too loud to where when we both start talking, you might laugh. It might just be like loud as hell in the headphones, to where like previous episodes where everything was like, just perfectly fine. Cause it definitely gets to where like I think deeper throughout the podcast is definitely not as much like static and feedback. But I know in the beginning it's just like if you just pop headphones and you might be like, oh shit, like that's loud as shit, or us talking might be super loud, or some. I think that feedback, like the little staticky shit in the back, because I know in previous episodes it wasn't like that at all. That's why I was just like, I don't think we should be able to go from like static to clear. Like, I just wanted to be consistent, so the audio clear for 5 episodes. Even if we do make a mistake with the levels, or maybe talking too far away, that's just something that we all can clean up, and it's on everybody's. We have to make sure that everything we put out is at least crystal clear or good audio, because we have the equipment to do so.
And that's what I'm saying. The the quality that we putting out is a lot better than a lot of podcasts that's already out. Yeah. On top of considering the fact that we not like in the full studio, and we have the studio type equipment, but it's just like you can make it happen without being in that setting. So the room that we in is not treated. It's not like soundproof or anything. We just making it happen. So that's why I didn't really feel like to say that it's terrible is really outrageous, because it's not terrible how you saying it is. Because I know what terrible sound like working with audio and being the audio engineer. So for you to say some shit is terrible when it's not terrible is just reflective of how lazy you are on your part, because you didn't even listen to the whole thing. You can't listen to 2 minutes of something and say it's terrible. Or you can't listen to 2 minutes of an hour and say it's terrible.
You gotta listen to the full hour. That's like I was looking at that as like how you look at it audio. I look at it visual wise. So if I was to make a video, edit it, and somebody was to tell me it's terrible, I'm looking at terrible as delete the shit, make a whole new video. Shit, if you even gotta shoot the video again, do it, because terrible is like trash worthy. Like I don't.
And see, that's why I wish he was here, so he can like really defend his point and say what he mean. So we're gonna save this topic for later on when he's actually here to defend himself, because I want him to definitively defend why he felt like the audio was terrible outside of the minimal bumping into the mic and the little static and shit. you heard. I didn't even listen to the full podcast myself, but I listened to maybe 20, 30 minutes of it. And outside of the minimal bumping into the mic, I don't think it was terrible how he said it was. So we're going to retire that discussion until he's here to speak to that.
Right, and defend yourself.
Now, what I want to ask you is, and this is something that I deal with a lot of people, period.
Mm-hmm.
You can ask somebody a very simple yet particular question, and instead of answering the question you ask them, they address and answer things outside of what you was asked. So I find myself every time I ask somebody a question and they answer outside of the frame of the question that I asked them, my response to them is, that's not what I asked you. And that can be perceived as me being ignorant or being an asshole when it's not, because I asked you a particular question and you talking about shit that don't pertain to the question.
Mm-hmm.
So how come people can't answer simple questions within the frame of the question being asked?
My opinion on it, I don't know. I'm not making excuses for anybody or anything like that. I just think sometimes we might have different surroundings. So, like how me, you, Dada, TC, like we all cool. We know that we can build a certain way. We can talk to each other a certain way. I know if we playing or serious or not. If you ask me a question, no matter if we playing or bidding, that you want the answer, not a question answer with another question or a beating around the bush. So I know that, but I also probably have different like friends or group of people who I'm around. If I might ask them something, they might just beat around the bush, and everybody in their friend group might beat around the bush. So in that, I guess community or society is accepted. But I know when I step in front of you, that I know if you ask me a question, I know that I got two choices: answer the question or beat around the bush. I know B, if I beat around the bush, then you gonna stop me in my tracks. That's not what I said this, so why you can't answer yes or no? And I think another part is some people just don't like to, I guess, be wrong. So instead of saying, yeah, you right, or whatever the question you ask them, they'll try to spin it off or ask some other kind of question or beat around the bush because they don't want to, I guess, feel wrong or feel like you might be putting them in a place or whatever the case might be, that they might just feel uncomfortable to answer your question exactly how you want them to answer and not beat around the bush.
But it's not even a matter of answering it how I want them to answer it. It's just a matter of answering the question and not deflecting with another question or deflecting because you don't want to answer the question.
Yeah.
I'd rather you say, I don't want to talk about it or I don't want to answer it, as opposed to you take me on put me in the ringer like I'm a fool or something.
Literally also simple. So like I feel like some of the simple shit, like even like we talking about like friends, no relationship.
No, we could go back to a real life example we had earlier when I was asking you about why you don't clean your car, and it's just.
I mean, I gave you an answer.
And that's what I'm saying.
I
like,
could have easily made excuses and was just like, oh, I don't. I feel like me saying I don't feel like it was kind of an excuse, but I just. Because I know you mentioned about in the previous podcast, and I said like if I see my room is like not up to par, then I'll make sure I clean it, because if I'm living in filth, then I'll treat myself like filth and this and the third. And he was like, well, if you got that analogy for your room, then why it's not there for your car? Because I'm just like, I don't live in my car, and I think my car is just a place for me to get to A, B, C, D, and E, whatever the case may be. So I guess when you asked me, that's how I just was like, I don't think it's affecting me at all. I know it. I see it's a problem, and I see like that the car needs to be clean. I just choose not to do it because I don't.
You don't feel like it.
Yeah, I don't feel like it. It's just simple.
Like
it be times where I didn't clean the car before. I didn't probably do it spotless from my head to toe type shit, but it's been times where it got bad, and I'm like, all right, let me just get all this trash out of there. Let me get fucking my mail out the car and some pieces of clothing out the car, and I did it. And then it got messy again. I just was like, I don't feel like it, so. That's why I just was like.
Then he was like, if you so worried about it, why don't you clean it? And I'm like, nigga, this your car.
that was like a defense.
Yeah, that definitely was a defense mechanism.
Because it's like I honestly wasn't expecting him to say that.
He probably wasn't expecting my answer either, and I'm like, I don't mind cleaning it, but it wouldn't be no point in me cleaning it for you to just let it get dirty again.
He was like, you gonna pay me?
Oh yeah, I did ask him, is he gonna pay me? And then he's like, oh no, I'm not gonna pay you. Then I'm like, what the hell am I doing for? But then I even said I would do it. I even told him we could pick a day where we do it together. But it's just a matter of you having to want to do something because you want to do it and not doing it because somebody's saying, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. Nobody know your circumstances and how your life is working better than you. So maybe it's a reason why he don't clean his car, and it's just something that I'm not seeing or not understanding. It don't mean he wrong or it don't make me right for trying to hold him accountable for cleaning his car. It's just different strokes for different folks. And the reality of the circumstance is not the same for everyone. And that's something that I constantly have to remind myself is everybody don't see life and see the world how I do it. So what can be a issue for me don't even cross some people's mind. And the more and more you tap into that understanding, the more and more you realize like all you can do is just live your life and enjoy it and not really worry about what other people doing and what's going on around you. As hard as that is, it's not impossible. Mm-hmm. And that's something else that we deal with as a people. Just because we feel like something is difficult or something is hard, we feel like it's impossible. And as y'all know, I've been reading a message to the black man by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and since we're on the topic, I feel like it's only fitting to go into a couple of the lines that I highlighted. So I think I want to start with, it says the Bible and the Holy Quran. Which one is right? The present English Bible is said to be translated out of the original tongues into the present English language by the authority of one King James in 1611. So you think about how many different versions of the Bible it is. It's the New Testament, the Old Testament, the King James version, the New Living Translation, the Old Standard, this, that. But my thing is, if God is the end all be all, the Alpha and Omega, the beginning, the end, the author, the finisher. The author, the finisher, who the fuck is King James? Because King James is not the author and the finisher and is not the grand architect of the universe. And if that's not the grand architect of the universe, who gave King James authority to write a Bible and a book that a lot of people use as the law?
I feel like that version is seen in a lot of churches too.
And that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad goes into it. He says the Bible is the graveyard of my poor people, the so-called Negroes. And I would like to dwell upon this book until I am sure that they understand that it is not quite as holy as they thought it was. I do not mean to say that there is no truth in it. Certainly there is plenty of truth in it, if you understand. Will you accept the understanding of it? The Bible charges all of its great prophets with evil. It makes God guilty of an act of adultery by charging him with being the father of Mary's baby, Jesus. Again, it charges Noah and Lot with drunkenness and Lot with getting children by his daughter. What a poison book. Yo. What a poison book. He said, I gotta read it from the beginning. Before the coming of Allah God, we being blind, deaf, and dumb had mistaken the true meaning of these parables as referring to the Jews. Now, thanks to Almighty God, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, who be praised forever, who has opened my blinded eyes and unstopped my ears and loosened the knot in my tongue, and has made us to understand these Bible parables are referring to us, the so-called Negroes and our slave masters. We being robbed so thoroughly of the knowledge of self and kind are opposed to our own salvation in favor of our enemies. And here I quote another poison edition of the slavery teachings of the Bible. Love your enemies, bless them who curse you, pray for those who spitefully use you. Him that smiteth thee on one cheek, offer the other cheek. Him that taketh away the cloak, forbid not to take away the coat also. The slave masters couldn't have found a better teaching for their protection against the slaves' possible dissatisfaction of their master's brutal treatment. It is against the very nature of God and man and other life to love their enemies. What God asks us to do, that which he himself can't do, he hates his enemies so much that he tells us that he's going to destroy them in hellfire along with those of us who follow his enemies. That was a mouthful, and that was a lot that we have to cover and talk about. So, having the understanding that King James authorized this book for his slaves, we have to ask ourselves, why? And this is something else that's a slippery slope that you have to think about. A lot of people don't have the right understanding of the Bible and how the book works, because like he said, there's a lot of truth in it. He may be speaking about what he don't agree with, but he's not negating the truth in the Bible. Right. So the King James Version was written by some white people to keep people enslaved. Because if you think about back in the 1600s, shit ain't like how it was now. It wasn't no Instagram, no social media, nothing. It was just heads of households and certain royal bloodlines and families that had certain power. With great power comes great responsibility. So if you a king and you got control over your whole area, of course it's gonna be easy for you to instill certain things and put certain books in their life, so they have this idea and belief that there's no God above you. Right. And King James tried to play God and tried to recreate what God put in this book and try to make it manifest in reality. Which is why there's so many different books and versions of the Bible. Because if we want to talk about the Jewish people, they have their own version of the Bible, what's called the Torah. And they look at Christ as the enemy and as somebody that needs to be destroyed, because Christ is the King of Jews. Christ himself is a Jew. And then there's a book in the Bible, Revelation, I forget what chapter it is, but it says, those who say they are Jews are not. They are in fact the synagogue of Satan. So this is why Jesus is looked at as an enemy and Judaism, because like he's their king. But they have the idea that the Messiah is not Jesus. So it's like, if he did everything he said he was going to do, if he destroyed your temple, if he rose from the dead, if he did everything you said he couldn't do, how's he not your king? Right. It's because your ego won't allow you to see the reality of the circumstances. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, the New Testament and the Holy Quran's teaching of a resurrection of the dead can't mean the people who have died physically and returned to the earth, but rather a mental resurrection of us, the black nation, who are mentally dead to the knowledge of the truth of self, God, and the arch enemy of God and his people. That is the truth. John chapter 8 verse 32, that will make us free. Whereof John verse 8 chapter 32 doesn't say what truth shall make you free, therefore leaving it questionable and to the advantage of the enemy. Oh, that my poor people, the so-called Negroes, could understand that they would sit in heaven at once. The enemy is alert, wide awake, and ever on the job to prevent the so-called Negroes from believing in Allah and the true religion of God. Woe to you who try to hinder the teachings of Islam and the truth of God and the devil, also ever planning the death of the messenger of Allah and his followers. It would have been better that you were not born. Pharaoh have deceived his slaves in the knowledge of Allah and the true religion of Islam, and indirectly had them worshiping him and his people as God. The poor so-called Negroes are so filled with fear of their enemy that they stoop to helping the enemy against their own salvation. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. So, if you know somebody got their foot on your neck, why would you help them keep their foot on your neck? I know why. Because you don't have the knowledge and understanding of them having a foot on your neck and why they got their foot on your neck. Because you just accepting what you told. So how you feel about that?
You know, it's crazy. It's so crazy that you even brought that up and spoke about that, because yesterday I had went through some shit, and it kind of speaks to your purpose of what you just read and what you just said to me. So I'm gonna just explain how my day went, and then I'm gonna just keep branching off from there. So yesterday, I'm chilling. Like, my day's going pretty good. Like, I'm just in my room just chilling, vibing, not worrying about nothing. And then I just so happen to check my email, right? So I check my email, and I see a message saying, cause I get a lot of like spam emails. So I seen a message about my bank account being in negative balance.
Mm-hmm.
So first thing I think of, I'm like, it's impossible, because I always got money in my bank. Like, it's really impossible that my bank account, is negative. So I go try to log into my account, and then they lock my account. So I'm like, all right. I try to go recover my account, and then my old phone number was attached to the account, so I really can't do nothing besides call. So I called, and they said, oh, the wait time is 45 minutes. They're experiencing problems. So I'm just thinking maybe it's just like on their end, they're just probably messing up, and somebody maybe got into the thing and like send out bad emails or something. So 40 minutes go by, I call, and I'm on the phone, and I get into my account, and then I check my account, and my account really is in negative balance. I'm like, how is this possible? I'm looking at all the transactions. I mean, I've got like some subscription bills, some like Apple, and a bunch of other shit that just come on my account monthly. And then I see one transaction for over $500, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. I don't like, who is this? So then they transfer me to like another line, and then basically the lady tells me like, oh, that charge is from an old student loan that you never paid.
What?
So I asked her, I'm like, so you mean to tell me that
y'all just took my money?
You could just take my money? She was like, well, when you signed up for the bank, you signed your rights for us to be able to do this like that. So I'm like, so you mean to tell me that I signed my rights away to the bank? She was like, no, I didn't say that. I'm like, I mean, so that's basically what you told me. So you basically told me that you can just go into my account and snatch money.
You could garnish my wages.
Right. I'm like, so you basically can just snatch my money on my account whenever you please. I'm like, I had this account for over 6 years. Y'all never took the money out of my account at all.
Is this Citizens?
Yeah. And I blame myself partially for this too, because I've been telling myself I need to take my money out and cancel that account. I just never did it. So after she told me that, I was like, I'm not even gonna get smart with you, because it's not really, I'm not gonna say it's not your fault, but it's nothing really I can do over the phone. So after that, I went to the branch, and so I'm like, I'm gonna go cancel the thing. So I'm talking to the I guess the branch manager, who claimed he was the branch manager, and he was telling me basically it's not really anything he really can do, and this and that and the third. So I'm, in my head, I'm like, the bank is playing with me, because I know that even though I did, and the one thing she said before the backtrack, when she was like, oh, so you don't plan on paying this loan back? I said, did I say that? She was like, I mean, I'm not saying that you say you're not gonna pay it. So I was like, I never said I'm not gonna pay it, but I said one thing you're not gonna do is y'all not gonna play me and take my money whenever y'all please.
Right.
So then after that, she started telling me, well, if you plan on going to cancel the account, this and the third, this how you should handle it. And I'm like, all right, thank you. Then she started trying to do her procedures and asking me shit, so I just hung up. So after I hung up, I go straight to the branch, and I'm like, I'm asking the manager these questions, and he just lost. I'm like, if y'all saying that I owe y'all debt on the student loan, I'm like, the account was already charged off. So when you charge off an account, you fill out what's called a 1099 form, which is a cancellation of debt. So I'm like, so if y'all technically canceled this debt already. Y'all sold my information to a collection agency. So why y'all taking money from me? And he just, oh, I don't know. We don't carry 1099 forms here. If you want to talk to somebody, and mind you, he's talking and he's looking up in the sky, hands in his pocket. I'm like,
he's like, oh, this nigga know more than he's supposed to know.
Yeah, I'm like,
because anytime you're talking to somebody and they can't look you directly in their face, that means that they lying and they not telling the truth.
Exactly. So I'm like,
I should have brought that Freemasonry book I was reading last night with me.
And I
damn.
noticed it, so I'm like, yo, I'm like, he can't even look me in my eye. He's the manager. He's supposed to be keeping everybody in this building together when some shit go down. And he's hands in his pocket. He's looking left and right, up and down. I'm like, this man can't even look me in my eyes and tell me.
Now you know what that remind me of? That remind me of when we went to TrueMark to open up our business account, and the lady talked about how what she couldn't do and what she couldn't do. Then I heard, I'm like, man, it's 2021. We live in a digital world, so. You what you saying, you telling me you can't do something because you don't want to do it, or it requires too much work on your end. Don't tell me you can't do it. This is what you get paid these thousands of dollars per year for, to handle shit. So you're not going to tell me what you can't do because you don't want to do something. And the thing is, a lot of people are told, oh, we can't do this, we can't do that. Like a prime example, I had a debt that was sold to a debt collector, and the debt collector that wasn't the original creditor tried to put the sheriff on me and tried to get the sheriff to come and serve me with the judgment, so I'll have to show up to court. What a lot of people don't know is when the sheriff come knocking on your door, not even the sheriff, anybody for that matter, you don't have to answer your door. And I was reading in the Press Enterprise, which is the newspaper in Bloomsburg, about how many people got these default judgments against them simply because they opened the door because they had the fear, like, oh, this is the sheriff, this is somebody of authority. If I don't open the door, I'm going to go to jail, or this is going to happen, that's going to happen. And the thing about the sheriff is they just do what they told. So they got an order from a debt buyer to go serve me with a letter to get me to come into court, but you can't make a judgment against somebody if they're not served and if they don't show up to court. So I never showed up to court, and they can't make any judgment against me. They can't garnish my wages or do anything because the sheriff didn't see me physically and give me the paperwork. So when you don't serve who's supposed to be served, how are you supposed to get what you want?
Right. Nothing get what you want.
And a lot of people don't have this knowledge. They just think like, oh, they say I owe them, I guess I gotta pay them. When no, you don't. That's not how it works.
And that's basically how they was trying to tell me, like, oh well, you basically have to pay this if you don't want this to happen again. But I'm like, you're not gonna tell me that I have to pay anything because first of all, the account that quote unquote first of all, I'm just mind blown because 6 years that y'all wait and then y'all just decide to take money. I didn't have money over this account for 6 years. Y'all never ever did nothing like this before. So I'm thinking maybe some type of policy change that happened, but even if that did happen, you have to notarize that your customers that a change is happening. This way they can choose if they want to stay with you or not. They choose not to because they don't want to scare customers away and potentially lose money. So when I'm asking this guy all these questions, I can tell he don't really know what he's talking about. And then on top of that, he just like, I guess confused. And first of all, he had like an accent, so he wasn't even an American. So I'm just like, that kind of pissed me off because I couldn't even understand most of the shit he was saying. So then after that, he was like, all right, I'm like, can I speak to anybody, like, higher than you? And he's just like, well, I'm the only manager here. And then I'm like, listen, I need to talk to somebody else because I'm not just going to.
I can't understand you.
Yeah, really, because you're not even speaking my same language. I'm talking about cancellation of debt form, tax form, and you just looking at me like, how does he know this? That's because I didn't spend the time to read about this shit and really dig deep into a lot of this shit because I ain't never think they would play me, but it's like, it's here now, so it's like, what you gonna do? So it's like, I'm not gonna just let these people tell me that y'all owe me. So he was like, all right, I'll put a request in you to talk to, like, I guess the headquarters supervisors or the branch, some shit, like, basically because they branches in Rhode Island. So he was like, somebody from that branch that's like, I guess who sits up top is gonna call you. And then I'm just like, all right, cool. Well, I guess it's like, I'll just wait until I talk to somebody I guess that know what they're talking about, but 10 times out of 10 they're not going to know what they're talking about because they're not even going to try to present me with the right documentation to say that I owe them because, like you said, you sold my information to somebody else. First off, that's illegal. Second of all, y'all still trying to collect debt on a debt that was sold to somebody else, so y'all don't even own this debt no more.
That's super illegal.
That's super illegal. Third of all, y'all went into my account and took money, which is highly illegal. So, and then when I talk to him, this is exactly what I'm going to tell him.
You supposed to be getting a settlement right now.
Yeah, so this is what I'm going to tell him. I'm going to listen. What's the difference between if you see my account, we on the phone, and you're a natural human being. If you see my account What's the difference if you make a transaction to take something on my account? If you do that, what's that? That's fraud, identity theft, whatever the case may be.
That's theft.
You'll get fired.
It's taking something that don't belong to you.
Yeah. So what's the difference when the bank do it? Because somebody authorized that. To
and that's what I was gonna say. The next thing you need to figure out is who authorized the bank for them to take money out of your account.
Because Citizens Bank didn't just wake up because that's just a housing unit. It's just a fucking building. The building didn't wake up and was like, take money from Muhammad's account. Somebody authorized that payment. So if I was to work at Citizens and I look at somebody's account and I took $500, y'all gonna fire me. Y'all gonna potentially call the cops. So what's the difference? Like, when somebody authorized that payment to be happen, why are they not treated the same way?
You know what's crazy? This is just like on a small scale, only like $500. And I don't say this to like minimize the severity because it is your money, but just imagine this happening with millions of dollars. Right. Like and they stealing money from people. Like remember that shit with Wells Fargo when they was just taking money out people's accounts and just
stealing money. And then just because you talk to somebody and somebody that worked for them tell you that it's for this reason, for that don't mean that they're right. They use them tactics literally to scare people and thinking I could have easily got.
They be reading from a script. They be reading from a script, and in some instances in these call centers, they be having a supervisor over their shoulder, coaching them, telling them what to say and telling them how to do this. That's why they say, you ever be on a call and it says this call may be monitored and recorded for training purposes. So like, if somebody got some heat, some real truth that the vast majority of people don't know about, they're going to hone in on that training call so they can train people how to respond and how to convince people that they don't know what they know or try to make them crazy. Because that's what a lot of these corporations do. They have a lot of policies in place, and since they know people don't read the policies in place, all they're going to do is just gaslight them and try to make them seem crazy when all you had to do is just not play with me. Because just like there's people that don't read, there are people that sit down and read every term and condition, no matter how long it is, just so they know you can't finesse their ass. But a lot of these companies know people don't sit down and read, so they could throw a whole bunch of bullshit in there, and people just so quick to getting what they want and getting instant gratification that they're going to sign and review it. And then this is the company safety net, because a lot of shit, they won't let you go past or agree until you scroll through and actually read through it. Some people don't even read through it. They just scroll to the bottom so the computer know that it got to the bottom and hit agree. So it's like when you say, oh, the company did this or the company did that, you have to make sure you did your part and read the terms and conditions, so you're not just saying they did something to you when all they're doing is what you agreed to.
Right. And even when you, like, I guess, agree and do all the extra stuff on the computer, that's not even really like eligible, because when you do that, you basically electronically, I guess, sign. Because when I guess, quote unquote, when I took this loan out and all this shit that I gotta pay for, he got a contract of everything, and when you see our signature say electrically signed, it's not. They need actual like a signature. No,
the electrical signature is just as good as the real signature.
It's voided because you actually need my signature to actually to say that this is actually me who's signing off on it. That electrical signature, I can type.
No,
and say
it's
me. And 10 times out of 10 when they do electrical, they print your name in all caps anyway, and that's another rabbit hole we can go down with the all.
No, but see, the thing about the electronic signature is they have it. Was it one of them joints to where they sign it for you, or you had to like really use your finger and sign?
I mean, on that contract, it just said electrical signatures on file. It didn't really say, like, it didn't even type our name.
Because some electrical signatures, they have it to where like you have to sign it like you sign in the physical paper, and then like because they did they call it DocuSign. They had this a lot at T-Mobile with the DocuSign. It'll just you'll press. It'll be an icon that say click here to sign, and once you click here to sign it, they'll like sign your name in cursive or put the cursive letters and shit, like stimulating like you actually signed it.
Yeah. But I just like from what you're saying, like if you allow people to play with you, it's just they gonna continue to play with you. So I'm on the tip, like I could say like, oh, it's $500. It didn't really like hurt me, but it's still my money at the end of the day, because shit, if I knew $500,
it's money that was taken away from you without your knowledge.
Yeah, and it's like say hypothetically, say that was my last $500 and I needed that to eat, provide for a family, and y'all just snatch it away like it ain't nothing because of something that I quote unquote owe y'all that's already charged off. Like,
but think about how that's the reality of the circumstance for a lot of people. And a lot of people don't even have the knowledge, the resources, or the ability to get the money back that was taken from them, and they just have to do things to find out how they gonna replace that on top of already being in the hole.
After already being damaged and all this other stuff, and some shit like this was to happen. That's why it's important to just read and obtain the knowledge and understand the language that's being written in some of these, I guess, laws and stuff like that. Like, don't just read it to sound cool or listen to what somebody else said. Like, you really got to read it to understand. Because if I didn't even know half the stuff I know, I couldn't even really fight this, because I'd just probably be like, oh, I'm wrong. But since I already know that debt is already sold and is already charged off as a cancellation of debt, that they already filed with their taxes that turned into earned income, I don't owe y'all no more. So I'm going to fight that to the T until y'all give me my money back, and I need a settlement, because that's basically, y'all just took money away from me. Like, they don't know what that could have done to me. That could have been my down payment for an apartment, a car, something, and y'all just snatched it away like it was already yours. No, that's my money. That's not your money.
And that remind me of like I got a loan from Goldman Sachs, and I was getting my credit repaired, and TransUnion, they sent me a letter in the mail saying, oh, we did our investigation and we found that you are responsible for the debt, blah blah blah. But then I get an email about the same account that they said I was responsible for taking off my report. Right. So it's like, what is it? Like, what's the truth? You know what I'm saying?
Most of these banks, entities, credit bureaus, collection agency, most of them, they do highly illegal shit every day, but they get away with it because they can, or just because you don't choose to fight them back or anything. Like, they'll call people and say, you owe us from 2000, you owe us $2,000. We'll make a settlement for you for $500. Whole time they bought your information for $25.
Yo, I ain't gonna cap. I don't even be getting phone calls from bill collectors no more, because the last time a bill collector called me, they was like, yeah, can I I'm looking for key fours, and I'm just like, he did.
And they really stopped calling. They were like, oh, we're gonna take this out. Listen, and the third. They can't call me too one time. I ain't say I was dead, but I just was like, who you looking for? Like, I just matched the energy. Oh, we're looking to speak to. I'm like, who you looking for? Oh, we're looking to speak. I'm like, yo, you got the wrong number. Don't call this number no more. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll take this number off the list.
And see, bruh, I really be, just how they be playing with us, I be playing with them. Because, like, you know, my phone is jailbroken, so I got the voice changer shit. So I answered the phone with the voice changer on, and it was like the deep ass voice, like, you know, the voice they put on people on the first 48 to disguise their voice. Like, so they was all jolly, like, hello, can I speak to you? Blah, blah, blah. Then I said, I'm like, hello. Then the voice changer's like, hello. Yo, so they probably was bitching like,
who the hell is this?
What the fuck?
They probably like, they know where I'm at. They know who's calling this. Like, listen, it really get crazy out here.
No, look, I'm gonna call your phone, and I want you to, like, play it on speaker so they can hear the voice changer.
No, this is why I need this.
No, this shit is the bed, bro. Put your phone on speaker. Is this Muhammad Laws? Sir, you have a debt with the Goldman Sachs Bank. We need you to take care of that. So just imagine being a bill collector, collecting money from somebody, and this is what you hear on the other end of the phone. You're gonna be like, what the fuck he got going on over there?
That is crazy. I need that, yo.
You know what I'm saying?
Because just because this call might be recorded, and now they got your voice on file.
Like, oh, you thought that was my voice?
You thought that was my voice. This way, they really don't have no idea. They don't have no idea who you are. They don't have no track record of you or nothing. Like, yo, I need this.
Bro, it's this website I'm about to show you right now. It's called thispersondoesnotexist.com, right? And every time you refresh the site, they'll bring up a computer generated image of somebody that don't exist. And this is all CGI work. So this is all like they came up with the algorithm and the code to literally create images of people that ain't real.
What the hell?
These is not real people.
Yo, that's crazy.
They done programmed the computer to take and create people based off a bunch of different images. So you know how these companies be collecting data?
Mm-hmm.
They got millions of pictures that people post online, on Instagram, on this and that. They worried about the deep fakes. This shit is way more real than the deep fakes. To create a computer, that's what CGI stand for. Computer generated image. To create a computer generated image of a person that ain't real is fucking some shit from a dystopian society. No. So niggas worry about Neuralink and robots and Boston Dynamics and this and that. When somebody can take this, they could take this picture, use it as a profile picture or Abby and be trolling. So a lot of people be having these relationships with people that they don't know in real life and on social media when that person might not even be real.
That's crazy.
Just think about how many people you done came in contact with and encountered that ain't real people.
Yo, that is wild. Yo, that's really wild.
And people don't think about that. Somebody that you think real could be a damn computer or don't even exist.
And since you said that them banks and all them entities that do this shit, they probably use shit like this to say that I could literally use that deep voice, change the voice, and tell somebody, oh, this is such and such from a collection agency. You owe me $600-$700.
And they gonna wire you straight up.
And then after that, no trace, no nothing. What you gonna call the cop and say, oh, I paid the collection agency? They gonna say you shouldn't have paid them. Yo, that is wild, yo. That is crazy. This is the world. This is the world we live in. What's virtual reality when you know we living in virtual reality? It's really crazy when you think about it and put it in perspective, right? It really is, because once you lived it too, because like it was a point in time somebody would call my phone every other day talking about something you owe us or you owe us.
It's like, oh, I gotta pay them. Oh, fuck you. I don't gotta do anything.
That really pull out their wallet and pay these people that they don't even know exist. These people is not even real potentially. Yo, that is crazy. This is some crazy.
Yo, I'm recording my podcast right now. I'm gonna call you when I'm done.
Only on the Universal Black Media podcast, man.
Real shit.
Only at UBM. You're not gonna see this shit nowhere else, man.
Oh, somebody sent me a shroom chocolate bar. That's the last thing I needed to see. No, but that relates to this verse from the Quran. It says, "And mix not up the truth with falsehood, nor hide the truth while you know it." Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 42. So it's like, with great power comes great responsibility. If you know the truth of something and the reality of something, it's on you to either share that truth or withhold it or hide it from somebody. Whatever decision you make, you're going to have to live with that and you're going to have to account for that when it's time to face whoever you believe you face when it's your time to face them. So me, I never intentionally withhold anything from anybody because I know the severity of that. So anytime I come across information or if I'm reading, that's why I'm always posting screenshots and pictures of books and shit that I'm reading, because it's like, yeah, whether you read it or not, I'm gonna share it with you because ain't nobody else doing it. And if I know something and have some knowledge that could potentially help somebody because I know they ain't reading, why not share it with them? So it's niggas that don't even have to read the whole book, but one page from the book can be the spark or the motivation for them to actually get into reading and doing different shit.
Something, yeah. Because these books hold a lot of knowledge in them. You just gotta pick it up and open it and dig deep into them. Like, just really like tap into it and read this shit. Sometimes some of these books do get boring. Sometimes it's not even what you want to read. But I ain't gonna lie, some of these books that got black authors, they tell it to you straight how it is. So I ain't gonna lie, it's impossible for somebody that read like this book or from niggas to guys and be like, oh, I can't read this because it ain't interesting. When they talk just like us, so they giving you the information straightforward, just like us. No beating around the bush, not giving you 10 pages of gibberish and bullshit just to tell you one thing. No, they telling you straightforward, straight up, exactly how it is. It's up to you to retain the knowledge and really apply it to your everyday living.
Real rap. But the thing is, how can you do that when you, like, in our community, black people, we don't look at knowledge and reading like that's cool. Niggas look at shit like having your pants sagging, shooting guns and making drill music and rapping. That's the shit that people think is cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's cool to actually have knowledge yourself and to know where you come from and the reality or the importance about your bloodline and about your people. So I don't want to say we have to make it cool or we have to just lead by example and show niggas like, yeah, I might laugh and bid and joke around or here and there, but there's also a time to where I get serious and I spend time, what I like to call personal development time, by reading these books and just getting an understanding of the world and how it works. Because I often think about why I'm so attached to these knowledge and these different books. It's because my father was taken away from me at a very young age, so I didn't really have a man to show me the ropes or show me how life works. Like I was just basically thrown into life and had to figure it out. And I must say, I've been living 25 years, never been to jail, never really got no serious trouble, never been into no street shit. I'm doing pretty good for somebody that didn't grow up with a father. And it's niggas that grew up with their father that's still out here fucked up. So it's just a matter of putting things in perspective and being thankful and grateful to God. Like I was telling you earlier, I could be out here doing anything. I could be a menace to society. But God told me, you're my son and not the devil's son, which is why I'm not out here being a damn devil. And when you know that, you just thankful and grateful for everything that God puts in front of you, take away from you, all of that, because you know it's bigger than what you want. It's about what God wants.
Real shit. So even this little, I guess, lesson that I'm being taught right now is I could have easily avoided this, but I didn't. So now that I'm faced with it and I'm confronted with it, it's like, listen, you got two options. You can stand tall, you can fold. So I'm just taking this as a lesson. It's like I don't. It kind of messed my mood up last night when I seen it and I was going through it and all. But all in all, I just really just reflected and I told myself like, stop just saying what you're gonna do and just start doing things. So if you know you got a guilty conscience of something, somebody, don't say, oh, I'm gonna give them time to show me who they are, because they might show you who they are and put a gun to your hand and blow your fucking brains out because you gave them time to show them who they are when you already knew who they were.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't really I'm not gonna really dwell on it. I just gotta go through the motions of whatever happens. Even if I don't see that 500 again, it's like whatever. But just so they'll know that like you're not gonna play with me how you think you're gonna play with me, and if I do turn around and get this money back, and then potentially get a settlement on top of that, then it's like okay, like now I know that this knowledge that I'm actually learning and retaining is actually working, and it can work. It's just like, don't let these motherfuckers play with you. Don't let anybody just play with you, because if you allow it, then it'll keep happening over and over again. A bully only exists when somebody allows somebody to play with them, beat on them, touch them, take from them. If you just stand up and even fight back or use words or whatever you use to stop somebody from bullying you, then it won't happen no more. So,
Like the great Jay Electronica said, you never reach heaven until you pass the fire. Sometimes God puts us through trials and tribulations to test our resolve, to see if we'll still trust in him or if we'll turn our backs on him and go fuck with the devil, because God not on our side one day out of all of the times he's been on our side.
real shit. And it's like we tend to walk into 2022 or any new year with like heads high and new year, new me and stuff like this. I didn't came into 2022 with a high fever, sick, laying in bed for 3-4 days straight, and then after I get better, I'm hit with this. So I could easily just crumble and be like, why me, or I could just be like, listen, just bring it on, and I'm gonna just keep knocking down each barrier and keep going through the fire.
Bro, and I know I quote Jay Electricity a lot, but he just got so many relatable, quotable bars. He says, never let a seed of doubt deter you from your lofty aims. Stick to the script. Like he said so much shit, but he's like, the will is much stronger than the flesh, and it only gets stronger when you're going through duress. So it's like, you would think that when you going through the toughest time is when you the weakest, but that's actually when you the strongest, is when you don't have nothing, you feel like you don't have nothing, you don't have nobody, you just feel like the odds is stacked against you. that's where your power lies, because everybody had the opportunity and chance to help you, but they turned their back on you. So you can choose to let that make you weak, but that make you stronger. Like T Grizzly said, being broke did something to my spirit. Asked niggas to plug me. They act like they couldn't hear me.
Look at me now, driving German engineer.
You see? So it's like he could have chose to allow niggas not plugging him to keep him from reaching what he knew he could reach, or he could have just said, "All right, niggas don't want to plug me. I'm gonna plug myself."
Mm-hmm. That's just how it gets sometimes. You really just gotta keep fighting. Like, I know I said
Jay Electronica again, keep shining. Nobody can stop your progress, because some known forces move unknown objects. That's magic.
That's magic.
You know what I'm saying?
Gotta finish the scriptures. For real.
Gotta finish them scriptures, man.
I know some people probably listen, like, what are they talking about? Listen,
It's needed.
Listen, finish them scriptures.
You gotta finish them scriptures, man. And when we say finish some scriptures, that could be reading the Bible, reading the Quran, or that could be you writing your own Bible or Quran and finishing the scriptures or creating them because you feel like they don't relate to you.
Right. I look at this, like, whatever you start, you must finish. Like, whatever it is. If you're passionate about something and you feel like this is your purpose, do not start it if you know for a fact you're not going to finish. Like, us starting UBM, I know that it's not just going to be like, oh, we're going to deteriorate, fall off, and it's not going to be what we think it's going to be. No, this shit is going to be great because we both great, so we're going to make this shit great.
And then on top of that, like, just speaking to today, like, since Dada's not here to record, like, a part of me was like, no, maybe we can just hold off or not record because he's not here. I mean, we can still record later on, but you can't allow one thing to stop what you have going on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I could have used that whole scenario yesterday and just been in bed all day, just laying around pouting about it. But I chose to get up, and I'm like, listen, by me talking about it, it's going to give me that fire and that urge to really do what I say I'm going to do, even with anything. So when I do accept that phone call, when they do call me, yeah, I'm going to have some shit for you, and y'all going to feel this rev. It ain't just going to be, oh, yeah, well, you owe this and that and third, and hang up. No, you're going to hear everything I got to say.
And see, that'd be my whole thing with life, period. It's the principle of not allowing anything or anybody to play with you.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think I'm being argumentative, or I always gotta do this, or I'm being extra this, that. No, you just not gonna treat me or play me for the fool that you are. People see, and this is what's interesting. People try to play you for the fool that they are.
Right.
When they like, and I always say this. They got the saying, you gotta be wise to catch a fool. No, you gotta play the fool to catch a wise. The way I see it, you gotta be wise to catch a fool. Cause a fool ain't wise. So why you gotta play like a fool to catch him? That's just some fucked up psychology right there. I just know a fool thought of that, came up with that shit. You're like, no, that's some bars.
And people be reciting that shit.
And like you know, I know you seen the saying when it's like, oh, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. You seen that saying before?
No, I never heard that.
All right, so they're just saying like, oh, I think it's from like the Hermetic principles or something, but they basically like, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Then I seen another one that said, when the student is truly ready, the teacher will disappear.
Yo.
So it's like, how ready are you? Are you only ready because you got somebody showing you, and you got somebody teaching you? Or are you ready because you got the lived experience of failing and trying and all of that shit?
Right, no, bro, shit. I like that.
And I'm gonna use myself as an example because I think this was 5th grade. I got left back in the 5th grade,
Right.
and at the time I was like embarrassed and all of that. But I feel like it was God like showing me or preparing me for everything I'm doing now. So I used to be embarrassed. Like, just imagine you getting left back and your homies is in the grade higher than you, and you supposed to be with them. Or was I supposed to be with them, or was I supposed to be where I was at?
Right.
And I got left back because of I think something with math, and this was right at the No Child Left Behind shit with George Bush. So it's like me thinking that it was something wrong with me intellectually, or I'm not smart, or I'm not this because the schools decided to leave me back. When that's not the case at all. I'm very intelligent. I'm very smart, and I can't allow some devilish beast poison system to convince me that I'm not as smart as I am.
Right. No, and the system will do that to. They do that to a lot of kids day in and day out, and that shit is sick. Like the whole. I remember how you were saying like sometimes. No, you were saying some. Basically like with kids that's labeled as like ADD or like slow. It's like. Because they're not retaining the things that y'all want them to retain, that they label them like slow or they got ADHD or something like that. It's like maybe they just know that what y'all teaching them is
bullshit.
Like, so you gonna label a kid ADD or ADHD or slow because they don't want to retain the bullshit that you're teaching them, and then they know it's bullshit. Some people know it's bullshit, but they'll still do the homework, they'll still do the assignments and just turn it in.
I mean, but that's what's easy to do, and that's a part of what Dr. Umar be talking about. So a lot of shit Dr. Umar be saying get lost in translation because people just look at him like a meme and think that he's a joke. Yeah. But he talk about the psychology and how it's important to homeschool your children and be in your children's life and not allow the system and these white people to tell you what's wrong with your child. They didn't push the child out, so how can they tell you what's wrong with your kid? But so many people don't know their children and have a relationship with their kid that they just accepting what these devils is telling them about their children.
So you send them to concentration camp from like.
So they could go to the concentration camp. The apple don't fall too far from the tree.
It's like it's a never-ending cycle.
You know what I'm saying?
Keep going. Man, that shit is crazy.
Yo.
Only here at Universal Black Media is where you get this content.
And a lot of people don't have the attention span to listen to an hour because they want to mindlessly scroll on Instagram or play Call of Duty or do this. They have all the time in the world to do everything else. But when it comes to listening to this, they like, oh no, that's too long or that's too much. Or I was gonna listen to it, but I was listening to AB on this podcast or that podcast, or I was listening to this, or I was listening to that.
Yeah, it should be here. Like,
yeah.
School's in session right now, and we are teachers, we talking.
And see, hold on, I ain't gonna take that one. I don't consider myself a teacher. I consider myself a reacher because I just share the information and it reaches who it needs to reach. It's too much responsibility that comes with being a teacher, so I don't put that title on myself. I'm just a reacher, and if it reach you, it reach you. If it don't, hey,
it's out there,
you can't say I taught you because I didn't.
The information is out there for you to consume it. It's just up to you to actually consume it, read it, listen to it, whatever the case may be. So.
And then there's already enough teachers out here that ain't teaching shit, so the world don't need any more teachers.
You put a movie on and give a motherfucker a homework packet. It's not teaching.
We got teachers like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, Malachi York. We have teachers, regardless of how you feel about them. A devil has convinced you to feel a way about them, so you don't even know these people or you don't even know they work. Never picked up a Elijah Muhammad book a day in your life, but you talking about how he's a pedophile, how he this, how he that, because of some poison that the devil gave you. What Jay Electronica say? Never swallow slanderous lies for the devil's satisfaction. But a lot of people out here swallowing slanderous lies because they're aiding the devil, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. You aiding the devil in your own demise. He said the devil's on his job. The devil don't miss a beat. The enemy is alert, wide awake, and ever on the job to prevent the so-called Negroes from believing Allah and the true religion of Allah and his prophets. So if they're constantly on the job to keep you out the loop, what are you going to do? Stay out the loop because of, like, I could have easily not tapped into the knowledge that Honorable Elijah Muhammad shared because of what the devil said about him. What the devil say about him ain't going to stop me from investigating on my own and taking in the information he shared.
Yeah, like, don't miss the message because you might not like the message.
But I done talked to countless people like, oh no, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was a pedophile. He did this. He had you don't know this man
at all. You just going over what somebody else might think they know about him or say about him, and you think that shit is like law. You think that shit is real or whatever the case may be.
But then there are a lot of people that hold the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in high regard and that idolize him. I'm not one of them people. I can respect your work and give credit where it's due, but I'm not going to memorialize you or idolize you. It's people that got pictures of this man hanging up on their wall and shit. Like, and a whole shrine dedicated to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's idolatry.
That's what Mentellect be trying to do.
But idolatry is going to get you. That's a one-way ticket to hell. If anything else is.
Seriously.
So.
You don't even believe in yourself. You just believe in everybody else.
And Father, forgive them. They know not what they do can't save you, because you know the Bible and the religions talk against idolatry. Yet you still practicing idolatry. Right. So if you're going anywhere, you're going to hell.
One-way ticket. You ain't coming back.
I'm on the highway.
How you think that song probably was made?
Yo. Damn.
This was a great episode.
This was a great episode. We an hour and 5 minutes in. 1 bar left, so at any moment this shit could die. But it's interesting how before we started recording, we was talking like, oh, maybe we could just make this a short one, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, and when you get to speaking, you know what I'm saying?
No need to limit yourself. We can stop when this shit die, and then that's when the recorder be like, listen, I didn't had enough. This shit is over.
Then it's like, oh no, all these niggas gonna do is put more batteries in me so they can keep talking.
Hell yeah, because you know what I did? I went and bought a pack of batteries off of Amazon, so we got enough batteries to keep recording. So listen, once them set die, it's cool. We got a whole new pack for y'all.
All right, so I think this is the perfect time to talk about my new podcast that I'm working on and that I'm thinking about dropping.
Get into it.
This podcast is gonna be me giving my honest review and opinion on the music that people send me of underground artists. So if you're an underground artist that listen to this and you want your music reviewed and you want me to tell you if it's trash or ass, send it through. And then the thing is, if it's not trash or it's not ass, I'll just say that. But if it's trash or if it's ass, I'll tell you which one it is. And the reason why I put trash and ass is because you know what happened when you put out the trash and the trash man come and pick it up. You never seeing that shit again. So if the shit is trash, I never want to see it again. Or hear it. But if I think it's ass, that means that it's not garbage, and I don't think you should throw it all the way away, but there's room for some improvement. Just in the condition and the state that it's in right now, it's fucking ass. Even if it's the final mix master or whatever. I done heard some final mixes and masters that's like, this shit is trash and this shit is ass. So the thing that's conflicting about that is I have to figure out a way of creating this without being disparaging to people and hurting their feelings. Just because I feel like your music is trash, you could be a awesome person, but if you make trash music, you just make trash ass music. So me saying your music is trash is not me saying you trash. It's just maybe you should do something else that ain't music. Because everybody want to be a rapper, a producer, a beat maker, all that shit. See, when I was engineering, I was trying to learn how to produce and make beats and all that shit, but I realized like you can only put your time and energy to one thing, and you have to put your time and energy to that thing until you become great at it. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't have the time and energy to put into becoming great at making beats because I was so focused on becoming great at being an audio engineer. A lot of people think you could do shit simultaneously. I mean, you can, but are you doing it effectively? It's the difference between doing something and doing something effectively. Anybody can just do something, but everybody can't do things effectively. So it's just a matter of you doing what you capable of doing and know you can do, as opposed to you doing what you think you can do or what you want to do. You got to be realistic with yourself. And sometimes that's not until after you're not doing what you're doing no more.
And so with this trash ass podcast, listen, if you're making music or whatever you're doing, if you send it, if you don't like the review, you got to be able to take constructive criticism, because everybody's not going to like what you do. Like, some people listen to our podcast, might hate it, might not like it, but is that going to stop us?
Hell no.
So listen.
For every person that don't like it, it's somebody that love it.
Exactly. So listen.
And some people love trash.
No, facts. Listen, constructive criticism is essential. So listen, sometimes y'all put out some stuff that y'all know is trash and ass, but y'all still do it just off the simple fact of, oh, I'm not gonna stop. Listen, everybody always can improve on something. Like even we can improve on some of the stuff we do here at UBM, and we're going to improve as the years and days go on. So listen, constructive criticism isn't always bad. It's you might just not like how the message is relayed. You might you might hear somebody. You might hear him say this shit is trash. And you be like, man, fuck him. He a hater. He ain't hate. He just giving you his opinion. If you love it, fuck it. It don't matter what Keith think.
Right. Cause, and this was the mentality that I had when I was engineering. It was just like, if you like it, I love it. Because a lot of people that I was working with would ask me, oh, what you think about this, or how this sound, how that sound. I'm doing what I can to make sure that it sounds awesome and flawless. Now, as far as the content, I'm not going to give you my opinion on that because that's not what you paying me for.
I can't rap for you.
I can make it sound good, but still feel like the shit is trash. But I'm not going to tell you that. Well, when I started, I wasn't in the point to straight up tell niggas like, yo, this shit is ass. Because one, they not going to want to pay me. And then two, it's just like they going to feel insecure. But now, since I'm not recording how I used to, I don't have no problem being the one to tell you like, oh yeah, this shit ass, or if you ask me. But before, I was just keeping it strictly business, and you paying me to record, so I'm not going to give you my personal opinion of what the recording sound like or what I think it sound like as far as the contents. Cause that's your music. All I'm here for is making sure your music sounds good. I'm not here to enjoy your music. I'm not none of that. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some songs that I enjoy listening to and I've grown to like because I was working on it so much. But it's the same way about the shit that is trash. I've even programmed myself to like shit that I felt was trash because I kept working on it. So,
why the hell is he listening? But I know at the time it's like you had to do it because you was mixing the mess, so you kind of, so you forced yourself to kind of like it.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, be on the lookout for the podcast coming very, very soon. Make sure y'all send them y'all song because I wanna tune in my day. I know this shit gonna be hilarious, yo. Please don't take this shit to heart, yo. Shit, I'll even make a song and send it to her, be like, yo, this shit trash ass, and I don't even know before I even send it to her.
I mean, I don't care how you take it. That's on you. Just don't send it if you don't want it.
If you don't want constructive criticism.
Cause it's like I could easily find like my own artists and shit to go listen to, but then that'll be a form of me bullying and picking out on people that I particularly don't like. Yeah, so it's like
music that you already know that shit ass.
And there's a lot of shit that I don't like. So if I was to do that all day, that'd be a weekly podcast like this one.
Shit, every Friday you got 2 podcasts coming straight at you.
No, but I'm still working out the logistics and seeing what makes sense and what works. So just be on the lookout for that, cause it's definitely coming. Damn, this battery ain't dying fast enough. So I guess we just got ended. We already an hour and 13 minutes in.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna let you share your closing remarks first, cause I didn't talk for an hour and 13 minutes.
But listen, man, don't let nothing ever in life stop you. There will be roadblocks. There's going to be obstacles that you must go over, go under, or go through to get to where you want to be. So it don't matter where you start at. It really only matters where you finish it.
Amen.
So just remember, if you plant a seed today, it's not going to grow tomorrow, and you won't be able to eat the fruits the next day after that. Everything takes time. So with that being said, just be patient with yourself, trust in yourself, and believe in yourself to the point where I don't care if somebody tell you that you shouldn't be doing this. If you know that this is your purpose, continue with it, and don't let anything stop you at all. I don't care if it's your friends, your girlfriend, or boyfriend, your parents. Can't nobody tell you what's good for you, and you only know you like no other. So keep grinding, keep being great. And ML Visuals on behalf of Universal Black Media, I'm out of here. Anything you would like to say?
I do have a few things that I want to say, but I'm going to just end it because that'll be probably like another 20, 30 minutes. So he hit the nail right on the head. The only thing I did want to say when he said the thing about planting the seed and it not growing, it reminded me of Bob Marley, I Shot the Sheriff. And he's like, every time I plant a seed, he say kill it before it grows. So I see why he killed that damn sheriff. On that note, we out of here. Peace.